To start to remove the intake manifold, you're going to have to remove the air intakes along with the charge pipe. Also remove the sensor on top of the intake manifold and the oil pressure sensor, and get the wiring out of the way, blocking the bolts so you can have access to them. And then you're going to have to unclip some bracket under the bottom of the throttle body. That way the intake manifold will be able to come out easier. This is going to be the line that goes from the high pressure pump into the top mount fuel rail. This is going to feed the port injection of the injectors, and you'll see here that this is where it connects. So first things first, we're going to put the bongs and the fitting for the blow-off valve. So you'll get some Teflon tape. The only way I can explain to wrap it around the fitting is to go the same way that the threads are going. That way when you tighten it down, that the tape will dig into the threads and make a good seal. If you tape it backwards, you'll notice right away when you're tightening it that the tape will unwind itself. So you'll do that procedure for all of the bongs. So again here, do the same procedure with the meth bongs on top of the intake so you can block them off. And now you're going to lube up the O-rings for the injectors so that there's less risk of you ripping an O-ring, and lube is better than no lube. Okay, since you have all of them lubed up, it's time to put on the top mount fuel rail. On one side, you're gonna have a block off so the fuel doesn't go out, and then the one closest to the body will be the feed for the injectors. So you want to tighten those up. And along with reusing the sensor on the manifold, and install your throttle body as well. And don't forget your intake gaskets. So now it's time to put the manifold back in. Take your time with this because the manifold is considerably bigger. The last thing you want to do is have one of the intake manifold gaskets pop off on you when you already tightened everything down, and then have a leak. I ran into an issue with this. I purchased a new stud and nut because the vehicle currently had this one long bolt with the washer, but when you threaded it all the way down, the bolt obviously tightened because it had no more threads, but that piece of the spacer of the bolt would still stick out. So I would highly recommend getting the stud and bolt to make install easier. And now we're going to torque the nuts to 15 Newton meters. And you're just going to do the steps backwards with installing the sensors and plugging in anything you disconnected. So this is an updated video when everything's plugged in. You can see back there that that's the feed line, and for this fuel rail, it was kind of tough to install that with it on the manifold. So what I did was I loosened these two bolts, well, these two Allens holding it in, and I just simply removed this and then tightened it, and then I installed it after, considering it's just O-rings that are on top of the injectors, and then placed it down, and the same thing, started these by hand, tightened them down, and made the install easier. I got more videos coming soon, so if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now and stay tuned. My next video is going to be installing an upgraded feed line to the high pressure pump, and I'm going to do the same, walk you guys through it. And I have a couple other things left to do for this car, so stay tuned for the next videos.